All right, welcome. Today, we are diving into a skill that is, absolutely essential in our information-packed world. And that skill is research. We're going to map out the whole journey to finding answers, and we're going to do it together.
You know the feeling, right? You start with just one simple question, and then, bam! It's 3 hours later, you've got 50 tabs open on your browser, and you're suddenly a world-leading expert on the migratory patterns of Arctic terns. Hey, it happens to the best of us.
With that initial curiosity, that's actually the spark of research. But a true journey, it needs a destination. It can't just be wandering forever. So that's what this explainer is all about. We're going to learn how to take that simple question and turn it into a real, well-supported conclusion.
Okay, so let's get down to it. What are we actually talking about when we say research skills? Because, spoiler alert, it's way more than just being good at Googling stuff. We're going to build a solid foundation here by defining the whole toolkit.
See, it's not just about finding information. It's a complete investigation that moves through these really distinct phases. And look at the key words here. You have to systematically find it. Then you evaluate its quality. Is it any good? Then you analyze what it all means, and finally, you communicate your findings. It's this structured process that honestly turns just raw data into actual, real understanding.
So why should you care about this? Well, because these skills are basically your toolkit for life. Seriously, they help you sift through all the noise out there to find what's actually quality information. They help you tackle problems logically and communicate your ideas clearly. And the real takeaway here? This isn't just for students cramming for an exam. These are absolute powerhouse skills in literally any career you can imagine.
Okay, so we've got our definition locked in. Now it's time to plot our course. I want you to think of this next part as like drawing the map before you even take your first step. Trust me, a good plan makes all the difference in the world.
So here they are, the 4 foundational pillars of any good research project. First, you've got to pinpoint exactly what you're trying to figure out. That's your research problem. Next, you do a big literature survey. Basically, you see what other smart people have already discovered about it, so you're not reinventing the wheel. From there, you develop a testable idea, your hypothesis. And finally, you prepare the research design, which is just the plan for how you're going to test it. You get these 4 steps right, and you are totally set up for success.
And let's just pause for a second on the hypothesis, because this part is so critical. It is not just a random guess. Think of it as your North Star. It's that one single focused point that guides every single decision you make from here on out. Every piece of data you collect is going to be measured against this one core idea.
All right, we've got our map, we have our North Star. Now it's time to gather our tools for the quest. This is the part where we figure out exactly how we're going to collect all the information we need.
So, there are a bunch of ways to gather original data. You could use observation, literally just watching things as they happen naturally. You can conduct interviews, asking people questions directly, one-on-one. You can use questionnaires to get answers from a much wider group of people. And then there are schedules, which are kind of like a more formal questionnaire, often filled out by the researcher during an interview just to keep everything consistent. The key thing to remember is that the method you choose depends entirely on the question you're trying to answer.
And hey, when you're asking questions, the type of question you ask matters a lot. Close-ended questions, they give you that nice, clean, easy-to-analyze data. Think multiple choice, super simple. But open-ended questions, that's where you get the rich, detailed context, the juicy stuff. The downside, it's a lot more complex to sort through. So again, it's all about choosing the right tool for the job.
Okay, now here's a brilliant tool that kind of bridges that gap. It's called a Likert scale, and it cleverly turns a subjective feeling like, say, agreement, into a number. This is a total game changer. Why? Because it lets you measure things like opinions and attitudes in a way that you can actually analyze with statistics. It's such a simple but unbelievably powerful way to quantify that qualitative human experience.
All right, you've planned your journey, you've used your tools, and you've returned with this trove of data. Okay, now this is the exciting part. It is time to decode what you have found.
This really is the moment of truth. All the preparation, all the collection, it has all led right to this point. We're about to move from just gathering facts to actually finding meaning. And we do that by putting our data to the test. And really, this is the one question that drives the entire analysis. We hold up everything we found against our initial North Star, our hypothesis, and we just ask, very simply, was I right?
And you know what? After all of your analysis, the outcome is actually beautifully straightforward. It's one of two things. Either the evidence backs up your hypothesis, and it's accepted, or it doesn't, and it's rejected. And hey, remember this, a rejected hypothesis is not a failure. Seriously, finding out you were wrong is often way more interesting than being right. It points you toward a new, totally unexpected discovery. So you've found your answer. Amazing. But the journey isn't quite over. Why? Because an answer that you just keep to yourself doesn't really help anyone, does it? The final, absolutely critical step is to share what you've learned.
And this is why sharing matters so much. Your work, it isn't just about your one little project. It's about contributing your piece to a much, much larger puzzle. When a hypothesis gets tested and it's upheld again and again by lots of different researchers, that's what helps us build these solid theories that actually explain how the world works.
Now, the standard way to share all this is in a structured report. And I want you to think of it like you're telling the complete story of your journey. You start with the preliminary pages to kind of set the stage. Then you get to the main text, where you walk the reader through the whole adventure. What did you ask? What have other people said? How did you do it? And what did you find? And you wrap it all up with the end matter, which is where you put your references and extra data, the bibliography and appendices.
And there you have it, the research journey from that one single spark of curiosity all the way to a shareable conclusion. We've laid out the map, we've gathered the tools, and we've set the destination. So now, the only question left is for you. What will you discover?